Probably have to sing if you're going to do a sound check. Huh? 1, 2. All right, there we go. All right. All right, cool. 1, 2. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. That's the only thing. There's just too little love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. No, we don't need another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb. There are oceans and rivers enough to cross. Yeah, good. Till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. That's the only thing, that there's just too little love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Everyone. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. The vocal, can I get some more of the lead vocal in this one here? Or do I turn that up myself? Jack, maybe that's it. No, we'll see in a minute. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, man. Yeah. Okay. Good morning, my brothers and sisters. It's good to be back. My mother's she's doing well. She was glad to see her son. And I'm glad to be back. It's always nice to go so you can come back. Flow, Spirit, flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace. Show, Spirit, show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love. Flow, Spirit, flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace. Show, Spirit, show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love. every breath I take, every embrace, every thought I think. Oh yeah, Spirit flow through me, every word I say, every night and day. I wanna be an expression of your unfolding love. Every decision through the confusion, flow through me, Mother, Father, God, as I open up to let your Spirit lead the way. Oh, I'm not worried, 'cause I know that as I believe, so it is. When I wake up in the morning and when I put on my clothes and go about my day, let me touch somebody, let me love somebody, let me help somebody flow through me. Spirit flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace. Show, Spirit, show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love. Thank you, thank you. You know, we try to blend the old with the new. We call it New Thought, Ancient Wisdom. How about that? Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, St. Augustine, Florida. I am your musical host, Eddie Watkins Jr. I'm so pleased to be here. I am blessed to be here. I am blessed by you. I hope I can be a blessing to you this morning. No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you've come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come love and be loved. From the blissed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you. If there's some kind of trouble or pain you're going through, know that you are not alone, and someone cares for you as an individualization of divine point of view. This door, oh, this door right here is open for you. Oh, this door, I'm talking about this door. I said this door is open to you. Come on in, come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you. My brothers and sisters, help me welcome our spiritual leader, the Reverend Dr. Ken Wilcox.
I'm having a little fight with a microphone there. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Eddie. Good to have you back. Isn't it good to have Eddie back? Oh, it's good to be here, joining together in a group of people that we can affirm for each other the best of each other. Like Eddie says, it really doesn't matter where you come from. Here we know something better for you. As he said in his song, an individualization of the spirit impulse. And what is that impulse for? It's for love and joy, happiness, prosperity, and health. So each Sunday I always ask you to do one simple thing. That is, leave all your troubles, your fears, your would have, could have, should have, to leave all that stuff outside. And for the next 45 minutes or so, to open up an avenue of spirit possibilities. And what are spirit possibilities? We're there for more love, more joy, more happiness, all those things in life that make us feel alive. So know you're in a great place this morning, and Spirit is going to recognize and reward you abundantly. Well, we welcome all those that are here with us in person. We also welcome those of you who are joining us online. You're very welcome here. The next 45 minutes or so, you're going to feel a great improvement of your possibilities. So just two announcements before we get started. We have decided to restart our hospitality program. Linda Simpson has done that for us this morning. It's outside when we all gather outside, and cookies and some nice things to eat. So we want to be grateful for her for that. And just know that as we move through this challenge, we're going to restart things and get things moving again. So that's a great thing. Also, I have my wonderful friend Lee Weaver coming up to make an announcement for us. Come on up, Lee. You want a microphone?
Hello.
I am so happy to say a few words to promote the play that I'm doing here this coming Saturday night called The Secret. This was awarded the best solo performance in the New York City International Drama Festival 6 or 7 years ago. And we're going to be doing it here. It's about an attorney, an abogado, who came over from Spain when he was 25 after working for a firm of finders. He was a finder, and he had to find Jews and Muslims and bad Catholics and report them to the authorities, the Spanish Inquisition. And this is part of my redemption series, and so there's a little hint in there that he has redemption by the time it's done. But it was wildly well received, and we've done it here, I guess, 3 or 4 times in town since then. But next Saturday night, I've got flyers for it. If any of you want to be on my mailing list, I've got my business cards also that you can just drop me an email, and I'll see that you know what I'm doing. And I plan on doing a show a month. And I want to thank this wonderful office right here sitting behind me for making me feel welcome to do my dramatizations here. I hope you can come. If you can't come, come anyway. It's only $15 per, and if anybody wants to come, they don't have that 15. They will, of course, be seated. The flyers say make reservations. We don't have that many reservations so far, so don't worry about that. Just come on out, and I promise you, it's about 1 hour and 45 to 2 hours long. We'll have sips and nibbles between at halftime and so on and so forth, and I think that's all the time I've got. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Lee. All right, Eddie, play us something wonderful.
I let it go. I release the thing I'm clinging to. I release what's holding me, and I'm falling into God's love. I let it be. There's nothing more for me to do. Nothing more to say, I'm just falling into God's love. I feel Spirit holding me. It is lifting me on high. I rise on a power I can't see. And on the wings of love I fly. I fly. I let it go. I release the thing I'm clinging to. I release what's holding me, and I'm falling into God's love. I let it be. There's nothing more for me to do, nothing more to say. I'm just falling into God's love. I feel Spirit holding me. It is lifting me on high. I rise on a power I can't see. And on the wings of love I fly. don't ask why. I don't need to understand everything. Ooh, and it's by faith I fly, and it's by grace I see, I see. I feel Spirit holding me. It is lifting me on high. I rise on a power I can't see, and on the wings of love I fly. Power that I can't see, on the wings of love I fly, I fly.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you, Eddie. On the wings of Spirit's love, I fly. Wow, that's pretty powerful. All right, so let's put all this love and emotion in our lives. Let's get the service started with an affirmative prayer, and I'm going to invite our own Richard Austin up to do a treatment and reading for us. Come on up, Richard.
Thank you. Good morning. So speaking of high energy, yesterday I had the great opportunity to ride in the MS fundraiser from St. Augustine to Daytona Beach on a 10-speed. Mm-hmm. Woo! In my right wisdom, I decided to start from Marineland. The others in my group started at the airport in St. Augustine, and they did about 67 miles. I chose for just under 40. So I thought that the meditation this morning should be something about the physical body and how wonderful it is, whether you have aches or pains or not. So from Ernest Holmes, he says, if I can find that right page, physical perfection is mine. When we speak of the physical perfection, we are not saying that no one is sick or that no one has pain. We're merely implying that the necessity there must be and is an essence of perfection at the center of everything, including the physical body. And so as we believe in all the healing arts that help humanity, we also do in our practice definitely affirm and know that toward that which we reach, there's a spiritual center to all things. And so now I'd like to speak a little clearer and say that I now affirm, and as you feel comfortable, feel free to close your eyes, sit back, relax. And I now affirm my body is the body of right ideas. I know it is now the body of God. In everything and every action and function is harmonious. Whatever does not belong is eliminated. What needs to be removed is revealed and renewed and released. All the energy, action, power, and vitality, there is the universal power that is flowing through the divine creation that is my body. My word of acceptance does actually establish in my body the action and harmony which already exists. There is one life, perfect, harmonious, whole, and complete. That life is the life now, not tomorrow, not today. And so I continue to affirm that that love of the universe resides also in this physical body, regardless of any creaks or cracks or crevices we may feel from our perfection. We know that it goes forward with the divine flow. The divine universal power from within allows us to move forward divinely with love and in right action. So as we come here this morning to allow our soul and our spiritual body to receive this message today, we know that the divine love is in our physical body as well. And we move forward with love and harmony and joy in our action. We release this treatment to do its greatest good for ourselves and our physical body this morning by saying together, and so it is.
Thank you, Richard.
I just got back from Detroit. I'm going to Denver next month. Visiting my mom. And I thought of this song because this song was written because of something that happened between my mother and I. It's an incident that happened a few years back. I was visiting, and this was when my father was still alive, and he was having some health issues, and we were all sitting around the kitchen table. And he couldn't hear very well, so he had the TV turned up really, really loud, right? So I'm trying to have a conversation with my father, and he's saying, huh, what? And the TV's blasting, and I'm just like really uncomfortable for me. Uncomfortable for me, because I'm visiting, I'm the guy from out of town, and I'm visiting him, and he's inconveniencing me. He's got diabetes, and he's only got one eye, and he can't hear that well, but he's inconveniencing me. Just so that you know that I knew where I was. So I used that opportunity to create a drama. And I went back into the room, and fortunately there was a piano in my room in Detroit. And I sat down at the piano. And I thought about, this is my mother, and this is my father, and they're both having health issues, and I'm getting upset because they're inconveniencing me. I think you need to check in, brother. You know what I'm saying? And that's when this song was written. I'm going to share it with you now. Just before you say something you can't take away, take a breath and let it out. Try to think about what would love do now. Wondering if you should cross that line for good. Whatever you decide, ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we try for love. In the end, that's all we know that's real. Whether right or wrong doesn't matter, just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we die for love. In the end, that's all we know that's real. Whether right or wrong doesn't matter just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? Ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? Sing it with me, y'all. What would love do now? What? Before you cross that line for good, sing. Before you say something you can't take away, sing. Before you beat up on yourself, sing. Don't forget to call your mama if you can. What would love do now?
Ah. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Eddie. What would love do now? Lovely. So my talk this morning is on divine givingness. I had a really amazing week. It seemed like this week everything came very easily to me. I would just turn around and what I needed was right there. Dr. Holmes, the founder of our teaching, he said, to each of our lives, we bring the reward of our visioning. To the pure, all is pure. To the good, all is good. And to the righteous, all is righteous. Our conclusions about life are affirmed by life. What we think we deserve will show up in our lives. Now, the good news is that you can change those conclusions. You can get rid of old ideas that no longer work for you. You don't have to keep them. A lot of that stuff comes from, of course, our early childhood, our families. I grew up in a family that my parents had been raised into depression, and so quite naturally, their conclusion about life was hard. Life was hard, and it required hard work. Well, that was a natural conclusion for anybody who had gone through that experience, but I didn't go through that experience. And I don't need to keep that conclusion. I can change my mind about it. The reward of consciousness, Dr. Holmes says, and is an objective outcome of the thought itself. And it's not imposed by a divine mandate. Each of us is rewarded not for virtue, but through virtue. Good thoughts, good deeds, and we need both of them. And we need both of them without guilt and shame. If you have to try to do good out of guilt, it's not going to help anybody. You might as well sit down by the temple gate. We want to do good and think good and do good in bring a joyful noise unto the Lord. And so, like I said, for me this week, it was easy. It was nice to notice how easy things came to me. You know, I'm always on the outlook for inspirational stories, and I keep a look for all through the week. Well, it happened last week that Sunday night, I got this really amazing story, Sunday night. And actually, it brought tears to my eyes as I was reading it. And it was from a source that I normally don't check in. It was the Washington Post. It was their weekend section. And it was a wonderful story about a young man, Iyab Falal. He was from northern Israel, 25 years old, from Galilee, actually. He came from a large family of Druze. That was their religion, Druze. It's a very small sect. It broke off from Islam about 700 years ago, and they're based in northern Israel. They're no longer considered Islamic because they believe in reincarnation, and they believe that we will all get back to the one mind. Sounds kind of similar, doesn't it? So he was a great guy, Elib was. 25 years old, he was handsome, he was large, he was smart, he was strong, he was athletic, he was a leader. And the best thing about him is he refused to let anyone around him not to be taken care of. He was one of those people. He wanted to make sure everyone was safe and cared for and nurtured. So he was 25 years old, and what happens in Israel is you get drafted in the Israeli army, and he was drafted. And because he was so large, because he was a leader, they quickly pushed him up into their top ranks until he was a member of sort of like their Green Beret. On one of the missions that he was required to go on, they had to burst in on a family. They were looking for armaments or something. They burst in on the family, and he said the soldiers just began to rip apart the house because they were looking for whatever they were looking for. And he noticed that the 2-year-old little girl was in the corner, shaking in fear and had dissolved in terror. And he put down his armament, and he went and he comforted her. And the next day he told his commander, I won't do that again. I'm not going to do that. Well, they got him out of the Israeli army. And he decided he wanted to go into sports medicines. His family was involved in medicines, doctors, and in the medical industry, and he wanted to be a doctor. And he thought what he would go do is become a sports doctor, meshing the two interests he had. And he'd gotten into medical school, and right before he could was starting his studies, he began to have blinding headaches. At first, they thought it might be a sinus infection, so they gave him some antibiotics. That didn't work. Then they got him into the hospital, and they realized he had a cancerous growth in one of his sinuses. The doctor said, he's young, he's healthy, he's strong. We're going to really give him a big dose of chemo. We're going to knock this out of him so he can go and live the rest of his life. And that's what they did. The tumor went away. He decided he would go on a trip to Europe with a cousin. And before he could head out, just weeks, not even a month, just weeks before he could head out, the tumor was back. And it was bigger than ever. They go back to the hospital. The doctor says, there's nothing we can do. They give him the number for hospice. One of the nurses, she began doing research. And she said, wait a minute. She says, there's a doctor in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And this doctor, he's doing research on this exact cancer, and he's come up with an experimental drug. See if you can get him there. And so his father sold his car, sold some land to try to raise the money because it wasn't covered with the Israeli health insurance. His sisters got on social media to promote the cause, and soon the whole community was gathering funds, both the Druze, the Christians, and the Jews. And soon enough, they had money to get to Pittsburgh. So the whole family, because they all wanted to support him, they all went to Pittsburgh. When they got to Pittsburgh, the social worker at the hospital realized that there was no place for them to stay, and that they needed some housing. So she began calling around to the community. She found a wealthy Jewish family, the Bernsteins. They had a large house. They had a garage, an apartment over at the garage. They'd never used it. And they said, well, they can move in there. It'll be perfect for them. It was large enough, had a kitchen, several bedrooms. So they moved in. Elib and his family moved in. And before the first weekend was out, as things happened, the little kids began to play with each other. Then the teenagers began to contact each other. And finally, the adults got together. And when the adults got together, the Bernsteins said, we're family. We're family. You don't need to be living over our garage. You're moving into our house. And so they brought them in the house. Now, evidently, there's something about this family that was just so loving, and so that people wanted to help them, because soon the whole community was reaching out to help them in every way they can. They were getting them back and forth to the hospitals. They were there at the hospitals when the doctors would come in, and they would try to help interpret what the doctors were saying. They even got up a group that would go looking for the spices for his mom to cook Elib his favorite dishes in the hospital. So they were really nurturing this family. The family began to notice all around the community there were signs, and the sign was stronger than hate, stronger than hate. And so they began to ask, what does this mean? Why? Because they saw it everywhere. People had it on buttons, on bumper stickers, signs in the stores. And they said, what does this mean? And they explained to Elib and his family that 3 weeks before they came there had been a mass murder at the Tree of Life Synagogue in this community. 11 people were murdered. And in that tight-knit community, most people had either knew somebody, had a family member. Most people were affected by this murder. And that was their symbol, stronger than hate, that their community was stronger than hate. Now, unfortunately, the chemo didn't work, the experimental drug didn't work. Elib was on a ventilator, and his family made the decision they were going to release him back to spirit. And they did. And they were packing up to go back to Israel to start their life. But before they could leave, people came together and said, we want to honor you. You've become a part of our family. We can't just let you go back without honoring you and Elib. And so the Jewish mortuary opened up their house for a celebration or service for Elib. The place was packed. And when Elib's family came into the service, they had embroidered on all of their clothing, stronger than hate. And when the Jewish people saw that, they just dissolved in tears. They just said the whole building just wept with this act of compassion and kindness. One of the rabbis that was involved with being there with Elib on his hospital, they mentioned his name in his synagogue. So Monday morning, I thought to myself, well, I'm going to call him up. I'm going to call him up. One thing I wanted him to know was that his act of kindness, how broad that reach had been. And surprisingly, I got first his assistant on the telephone. Now, this is how things work in spiritual communities. His assistant knew nothing of it. Didn't know anything about Elib, didn't know anything about the article. He was like, an article in the Washington Post about our rabbi? I was like, sure. So I get the rabbi on the line, and the rabbi's great. And he was like, yes, they were a lovely family. He was like, I'm so grateful I got to be a part of it. And so before I got off the call, I told the rabbi, I said, well, you know what? I said, we've got a service coming up. I said, we're going to make a donation to your synagogue, to the kids of your synagogue. We're going to send you a little bit of money. Not a lot, but a little bit of money. So 10% of our donations today will go to his synagogue. Because it's required of us not just to recognize Spirit's goodness, but you got to add a little bit to it, and you got to send it back. If you just hold it to yourself, you cut off that circuit of energy, and it shuts down. You have to put the bread on the water and send it back. And when we do, blessings will return to us. Overwhelming. Spirit wants to awe you with how much you are loved. And when you release Spirit's blessings, then Spirit can awe you. Later in the week, I got a call from the Betty Griffin House. We support the Betty Griffin House here. And that's the house where people can go to who are fleeing violence. And they had asked us to come to be at their thank you dinner. And so me and a board member are going to that. But they called this week, and they said, unfortunately, they said, our guest speaker isn't going to be able to speak. And we were wondering, would you like to? Well, I got a busy week. There's an oil change coming up. Sure, I'm going to speak. Yeah, I'll speak. Yeah. And, it's a wonderful opportunity, wonderful thing to do. So that was a nice thing to happen. Later on in the week, I had run off and got my flu vaccine. Yes, I believe in those. And the next day, I was kind of laying around a little bit. and I was flipping through a book a friend gave me. It's about a Hollywood star, but she's really more of a businesswoman than she is a star. It's the woman who portrays Elvira, Mistress of the Night. She's the horror lady. She's a really amazing woman. She's had big success. She's very successful about branding her character. And the fun thing about her is that she's met all these Hollywood people, and she talks about them. She's very dishy, as they used to say. She dated Elvis. She thought Elvis was a fun, kind of naive country boy. She dated Tom Jones. Remember him? He was kind of a jerk. Anne Margaret, she worked with Anne Margaret. She said she was a delight. She said she was just a lovely, lovely person. She had to deal with Raquel Welch. Not so lovely, not such a nice person. So it's a fun little dishy book, and I opened it up just I haven't read it front to cover. I just opened it up. There I'm reading, and she's talking about she's going through a troubling time, and she said a friend gave her an amazing book that helped inspire her, encourage her from that point on, and the author was Ernest Holmes. The book is the Science of Mind textbook. Now, how could that have happened that I just picked that particular page to turn to? Spirit has this kind of playful quality to it. They call them God winks. And if we are open and receptive, those kinds of things will show up and will give us encouragement to get on through our lives. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Not everything in my life is candy cane and lollipops. Sometimes I think New Thought ministers will have you believe that everything can just be wonderful and joyful and loving, but that's not kind of life. We have to deal with some negativities that come through life. I think I've told you about one of our little puppies is approaching her transition. She's the little Sheltie. And we've had 2 brushes with her where we thought we might lose her. And now she's gotten to a place where on our tile, can't always get up. And so she will start barking for you to come help her up. And she's like most of the women in my family. She's loud and she's insistent. And she has a brilliant sixth sense. She really does. Because you can be standing at the kitchen emptying the dishwasher, you won't hear a peep from her. You can be folding clothes for hours on end, and she will be sleeping in the corner. She sleeps on her back with her little 4 paws up in the air, snoring like a Scottish bagpipe. Not a peep. Sit down with a cup of coffee, your book, and your eyeglasses, and she's going to start barking. And when she starts, you might as well get up, because she's not going to quiet back down. Now, we've been very good about she doesn't go too many barks before we're up and helping her. And we're very compassionate, kind. We get her up, we pet her, we get her on her way. And I do that because I know there's going to come a moment when I'm going to be grateful for those moments. I will be grateful and will want to have those moments in my memory. And I really think as I'm going through my whole process as I'm evolving, I've really come to the conclusion that is really my interpretation of spirituality as a whole. I would almost call it the Ken doctrine. That in the midst of all the aggravation of our life, we've got to proclaim the glory of God's love in the midst of it all. Joseph Campbell talked about that. He would use the artwork of the Hindu goddess Shiva. Shiva dances with human skulls around her waist with the swords above her head. That in the midst of life and rebirth and death, that there also has to be joy. Joy. He said that we joyfully participate in the sorrows of life. That was his conclusion. Well, that's a little too New Englandly for me, you know. That's a cup of navy bean soup. I need something a little tastier, a little sweeter. For me, I like more the Jewish idea. When you go to the Jewish Passover service, you know, they share all their memories of good and bad. And so they'll have the salty food to remember the tears. They'll have the bitter herbs to remember the bitter times. But they also have the sweetness, the sweet wine, and the sweet little cookies and stuff to remind you of the sweet times. And this is what I think we're called to do, to embrace all of it and to be present in the middle of all of it and say in all of this, to bring the glory of God's love to all of it. To say here, and even in the midst of this, there is something I can do to make the world a more loving and compassionate and kind place. Eob, when he was in Pittsburgh, he wrote back to a friend of his. He says, these people don't know us, but they're treating us like family. They're treating us like family. Those people, those Jewish people had suffered loss and pain, but in their pain and sorrow, they were stepping up. They were stepping up to the one family. They were stepping up to the one love. They were stepping up being a conduit and a channel for God's love and God's blessing right where they were in their brokenheartedness. Through their brokenheartedness. What do some people say? That is the cracks of our hearts that God's love and compassion that can shine through. And wasn't that the example of Christ? Christ was on the cross, nailed to a cross, and the thief next to him cried out, Master, give me hope. Master, help me. Master, save me. And Jesus said to him, this day you will be with me in paradise. So it seems to me that that's what we're called to do. In the midst of all this turmoil we're going through, in the midst of all this anger, in the midst of all this confusion, we've got to declare paradise. In the midst of our love and our joy and our happiness, we've got to declare paradise. It's what we're called to do. Spirit has faith in us, and we have the power to step up and to do it. And when we do, we're going to change this world. When we do, we're going to bring a new heaven and a new earth to our reality. Spirit has faith in you. I have faith in you. You've got the power, so go out there and make something wonderful, marvelous, miraculous happen. You can do it. Believe in yourself. This is the truth in your life this morning. It's the truth in mine, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Here we all are, gathered together in this place. Why are we here? What is our purpose? Spirit, reveal. How do we know what's true and what's real? We may not know where life's road will lead, but it doesn't matter long as we believe that God is the answer. God is the answer. God is the answer to whatever the question may be. To whatever the question may be.
Thank you, Eddie. So we come to the time where we support our center, and we do that gratefully because we know this center is out doing great and amazing things. If it's keeping us open here so we can have these amazing services, if it's supporting the Betty Griffin House, or if it's supporting the Venus Manley Foundation, where we help kids with disabilities go on to get higher education. This center is a bright light of hope and love and inspiration, and your support is making it possible. Now, we support our center in two ways, through consciousness and coin. Consciousness is right thought. Consciousness is good prayer, affirmative prayer. Praying, believing this center is going to grow and thrive and continue to doing this good work. And of course, coin is the financial support, and we're grateful for that as well. Whichever of those two ways you choose to support us this morning, place your offering over your heart and read with me this affirmation of prosperity. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
Love has come. Love has come. Love has come into this place. Love has come. Love has come. Love has come into this place. Peace has come. Sing along with me. Peace has come. Peace has come. Peace has come into this place. Sing with me, joy has come. Joy has come. Joy has come. Joy has come into this place. Into this place.
Thank you, Eddie. Joy has come, peace has come. We do this through opening our minds and hearts to a greater idea. So I'm going to do this closing prayer in a first person. Take it in for yourself. If I say something that works for you, hold tight to that. If I say something that doesn't work for you, just let that part slide by. But just know this truth with me this morning. There is but one God and one mind and one power, and that God is perfect love, it's divine intelligence. It has called me by name from itself so that I could be here walking the soil of this earth. And I am here to know how loved I am by my Creator. I am here to know how powerful my love and hopes and dreams are. I am here to be awed by how much God loves me. So here today in this sacred place, filled with all these wonderful, loving souls, I make a promise to myself that I will never think badly of myself again, that I will let go and release all thoughts of lack and limitation. I will refuse to see myself as a victim. From this point on, I know I am a victor in God's love. I know I have come to life to experience all the great goodness that God had in mind for me. So here today, I lift my head up to a better idea. Here today, I open my eyes wide to all the support the Spirit has for me. And I leave this place knowing that I can be inspired and encouraged, that I am here to witness God raining down blessings upon me and everyone around me. I am here to create a new heaven and a new earth through my hope, my love, and my dreams. And Spirit is calling me on. This is my truth this morning. Every cell of my being radiates this right knowing. And I release this prayer into the mind of God to do its good and perfect, bold and dynamic work, returning to me multiplied abundantly. And together we say, and so it is. All right, my friends, I'm going to leave you with one last thought, and that is your life. Your life, it's not a problem to be solved. It's a miracle unfolding. Your job this week is to name your miracle, proclaim your miracle, and then make it your own. God bless us all. Now let us go be the miracle God is calling us to be. This is Reverend Ken with Eddie Watkins Jr. Until we see each other again, many blessings.
Woo! Please join me standing singing the peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with our family in perfect harmony. Let this begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. wonderful.
It's good to get away. Have a good trip.
It is. I'm ready to go again.
Tell Mary Ann I said hi.
I will. I sure will.
Would you like to go to lunch?
Not today, unfortunately. I have. I'm getting ready to go to Seattle. I'm getting ready. Actually, I'm going to Denver, then to Seattle.
Wow.
So I'm writing charts, and I don't even want to think about it now. But
You were telling me you were about to put out a new album. Did you put out a new album?
yes,
Okay. I looked and I don't know how to find it, so you're going to have to tell John how to find things.
okay. It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon now, and it's in iTunes, and it's everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.